Hey, when I think about strategy, and obviously I'm biased because I've been a strategy consultant for 25 years, I think of a very particular thing. I think of something with a lot of data in the background, for example, a SWOT analysis, an entire snapshot of the organization's results, and a long-term vision from which you work backwards to the results for the horizon of the strategy, 1 year, 5 years, whatever. And in order to devise that kind of a strategy, you get all the leadership together, you facilitate a relatively comprehensive process, you grapple and interlock with each other, you consider what is the right value proposition, how are we going to execute it, and in my work, you develop a strategy map and a balance scorecard, etc. I could go on forever, right? I've noticed, though, that some of my clients do something very different that they call strategy. And for the longest time, I've been kind of judgmental about it, a little intolerant. So I'm here to confess that's a bit unfair. What is this other thing I'm talking about? Well, it may be really familiar to you. In fact, it may be the thing that your organization has called strategic planning for a really long time, and you've assumed that really is strategic planning. And what that is that the organization gets together, let's say the beginning of the year or the beginning of the fiscal year, they look at last year's results, they decide they want to improve by 5%, 10%, 15%, whatever it is, some financial metric. And then they essentially parse out a bunch of projects, decide what the projects are, decide how much money to give the projects, and then that's it. So the strategy retreat or the strategic planning consists of what are the goals, and then a kind of laundry list of projects. And like I said, I've been pretty judgmental about that. There's a slightly different version of that if you have a really big organization might be familiar. And in that one, again, the leadership comes up with some kind of a financial goal. And then instead of getting everybody together and creating a project, what they do is they give every functional area a budget. They give IT a budget, they give marketing a budget, they give sales a budget, and on and on and on, manufacturing, etc. And or maybe even location, right? So the Americas, Europe, Africa, and so forth. And they say, here's your budget. Now we're going to accomplish these financial metrics, which means here's your piece of it. Go forth, come back with projects that fit within the budget. And, that's it, right? Strategy done. So again, that is a very different way of doing it. And in my judgmental way, I have been thinking to myself, that's just not strategy, right? That's something else. That's kind of a tactical plan for how to hit a goal. But, I've rethought that a little bit. I now believe that there are sort of two or maybe more versions of strategy. We could call it breakthrough strategy and something like strategy Lite or strategy non-visionary strategy, they are very different entities, right? So for an organization that wants to have a huge breakthrough, they need to pivot. The results have been poor. They're convinced that the marketplace is changing. Their SWOT analysis shows some significant threats. That organization needs a serious breakthrough strategy, which is the kind of thing I've spoken about at the very, very beginning. But if you're an organization that's, let's say, a multinational that's been consistently having its stock price go up and up and up and up, your Walmart, right? Or your Facebook, you don't need a breakthrough strategy. What you need is a plan. You need a plan to continue on incremental improvements so that your stock value continues to go up, so that your shareholders continue to be happy, so that all of your financial metrics continue to be good. That's strategy Lite, or let's call it strategic planning without any visionary strategy. I have to come up with a catchy name for it, which I obviously have not done yet. But you can see those are two very different universes, right? And they require two very different kinds of approaches. So for the breakthrough strategy, you might want to bring in a consultant or a facilitator, actually have somebody who pushes your thinking beyond the boundaries of what you originally believe, who helps you see something that you haven't otherwise seen, or invent some kind of approach that you haven't otherwise invented. But for the other kind of planning, the one in which you're really just looking for incremental growth, you probably don't need that. You probably could have the CEO do it, or even the head of HR or the head of strategy, somebody who's basically going to help you to outline that laundry list of projects, the budgeting for them, the measurements for them, the progression and the execution plan. That's a tactical plan, and it's really important. So it's useful to distinguish at the beginning of planning your strategy retreat, right? What are we doing here? Are we doing a breakthrough strategy? Do we need to make a major pivot or cause breakthrough results? Or are we doing a planning session in order to ensure that our ongoing incremental improvement continues? If you know that in the beginning, you can plan accordingly. Please subscribe to my channel down below somewhere. Also, I'd love to hear your comments about this and your experience with strategic planning. And as always, please go to my website, beyondbetter.io, sign up for the newsletter where you'll get more information, URLs, references, citations, and everything else. All right, thanks.